Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. Guys, it's your boy Kevin Forte, and we are taking a look today at the Columbus Blue Jackets. I know I'm hyped up here, but I'm going to quickly bring that back down to earth as we're going to talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets, who have officially been eliminated from the 2022 Stanley Cup playoffs. What went wrong for the Blue Jackets? Their recent success is, reason for a bright future for this team. So we're going to go over all of that today. So Columbus Blue Jackets, yes, have been eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs after what was a 4 or 5 year playoff streak. They made the playoffs a couple years in a row, even beating Toronto in that 2020 playoff bubble, which got them to the first round. This is a team that is now missing the playoffs twice, and this is to be expected. This is a team that kind of announced a rebuild last year. They traded Seth Jones. You look at the guys they've lost: Artemi Panarin, Matt Duchene, all those guys that have, Sergei Bobrovsky, all the guys that have left the organization, David Savard, right? This is a team that's gotten beat up, and it's sort of caught up to them the last 2 years. But the future's bright for the Blue Jackets. Jarmo Kekalainen has done a great job at getting return on his investments recently. You look at some of the guys here. Their top 3 point producers are the core guys, right? It's Oliver Bjorkstrand, Jacob Voracek, who has been great in his first year in CBJ, and of course Patrick Laine, who is the guy in Columbus. This is only the 6th playoff. They've only made the playoffs 6 times since 2000, which, that's kind of damning in that regard, because you look at that and you're like, they've only made the playoffs 6 times. So what is that? Every 3.5-ish years. Again, you're kind of putting in that tense, but basically every 3 years or 4 years, they make the postseason. That's not good enough. So you're looking at a team that has struggled in that regard. And they've made up a lot of that ground, though, recently. Like I said, they made the playoffs, 3 or 4 years in a row? So they were pretty successful during that time. Going over, like I said, you're looking at this team in terms of goals for, goals against. Where do they stand up? Just not great. Their goals for is 13th in the league. So they do score goals. Like I said, you look at Voracek, Laine, Bjorkstrand, they all have 50-plus point seasons. That's even Gustav Nyquist, right? That's really good, and that's something that they could build off of going into next year. Now, this is one of the more troubling things, and that's their goals against, their defense. 29th in the NHL out of 32 teams, 285 goals given up. That is concerning. That's something that you're saying to yourself, all right, well, we need to be better, and you could kind of put the testament to that on the goaltending. You look at their starting goalie, Elvis Merzlikins, a .905 save percentage. That's not going to work, right? Obviously, Jonas Korpisalo has had a really tough season in CBJ. He's got an .877 save percentage. So this is a team that just their goaltending hasn't really been there, and that's really been their biggest problem. I think they've got a lot of really good young up-and-coming guys. But, you look at some of the injuries. They've had some tough injuries between Alec. Let me just name off some of the injuries they have as of today. So Zach Werenski out with an upper body injury. Alex Texier has been out since January with a finger injury. Daniil Tarasov, a hip injury. Patrick Laine out since, the end of April, upper body injury. Jonas Korpisalo, hip injury. Boone Jenner, lower back injury. Nathan Gerby, who's been out since September, since training camp, he's been out with a hip injury, missed all season. And Yegor Chinnikov with an upper body injury. That is the newest guy on the list. Actually, no, he's not. Who's the newest guy on the list? March 24th. I can't believe we're in April already. Yeah, so it is Yegor Chinnikovich. So that's kind of it. That's where we're at. It's been a rough season for the Blue Jackets in terms of injuries, in terms of their goaltending overall. They just don't have the depth. And it's really nothing against them. They've got a lot of guys that are young, guys that should be playing right now in Cleveland with the, Lake Erie. Or what are they, the Cleveland Monsters? I think they're Cleveland right now. The Cleveland Monsters, they're playing in the NHL already. So they're getting it's kind of the Flyers effect where, again, I'm not comparing them to the Flyers. Please, I won't do that to you. But they're in the same spot where they have guys that should be playing in the AHL that are playing in the NHL too soon, I think. I don't think it's going to hurt their development necessarily because they've kind of been pretty much switching them up and down every day. I mean, you look at the Blue Jackets, it's 3 guys coming up, 3 guys going down. Like, it is just so back and forth and probably driving Jarmo Kekalainen crazy. But that's kind of where things are at right now in Columbus. They're trying to get an idea of who could maybe get the starting lineup next year, going into training camp next season. What is the mentality of this team? And you look at some of the younger guys on this team. I mean, I guess you can consider Gabe Carlson a little older. He's 26, 27 years old. Vladislav Gavrikov, Cole Sillinger, Eric Robinson, Jake Bean, Adam Boqvist, Alex Texier, Yegor Chinnikov, Andrew Peak, Emil Bemstrom. Those are all young guys that have been drafted in the past 5 years for the Blue Jackets and starting to make it into the lineup. The Blue Jackets could have potentially 2 top 10 draft picks this year. Chicago is probably going to miss the postseason. As long as they don't move up into that 2nd or 3rd spot, Columbus will get their draft pick this year, and it's probably going to be top 10, as well as their own pick, who's probably going to be in the top 15 at worst. So you're looking at the Blue Jackets here who can still bulk up from what they've already got there. So I think it's one of those things where it sucks. Yeah, it's one of those things you'd rather not be at the bottom. But for 2 consecutive seasons, they could be getting 4 top 10 selections. So 4 of the top 20 prospects that have been drafted in the past 2 years will be going to Columbus. Now, the Blue Jackets could use that as a trade chip this summer. Maybe they decide, well, if Chicago wins the draft lottery, they want to trade that pick, Chicago's pick, next year. Maybe that's something that they could maybe work out to move up in the draft for this year. Who knows, right? Maybe there's somebody they really want in the top 5, maybe the 2nd or 3rd team that, maybe the 3rd team won the lottery, like the Islanders. Let's say the Islanders get 3rd in the lottery and they don't want to trade that, they don't want that pick. Again, they're probably not going to trade it to the Blue Jackets. You get what I'm saying, though. A team that maybe doesn't want that pick may be willing to trade it to the Blue Jackets so the Blue Jackets can get that top guy they want in the top 5. So the Blue Jackets have some, I think it's going to be interesting. Once we figure out the draft order, come draft lottery, on March 10th, we'll have a better idea of how things look. But definitely something to keep an eye on as we kind of move forward. May 10th, not March 10th, May 10th. So like I said, the future's bright for the Blue Jackets. That's really the positive here. The negative, though, is the future's bright in an extremely tough division. I'm looking at the future right now. I'm looking at Carolina, the Islanders, and the Rangers really being the top 3 teams there. And, is Columbus going to be a team, let's say Pittsburgh or Washington falls off next season, is that going to be enough for maybe Columbus to get their opportunity back in the playoffs in the Metro? Because, I mean, you're even looking at the Devils. The Devils could maybe make some noise come next. I mean, again, it seems like we've been saying that for 5 years now in New Jersey, but it's a tough division, right? I mean, like I just said, the Islanders, Rangers, Carolina, you could probably say those are the 3 prestige teams going into next year. You still have Pittsburgh, you still have Washington, and you have Jersey. Like, it's going to be tough. It is so tough in that division. So, I don't know, maybe it takes another year for them. I mean, I could see them getting things a little closer. I mean, you look at where they sit. They're doing well this season. Where they have 77 points. I mean, that's pretty good. That's nothing to really scoff at. But it's not where they want to be. And I think that most people are pretty understanding of that, considering where they have 76 points. So it's kind of it's understood that this is a rebuild. And if they make the playoffs next year, as soon as next year, great. But if it takes another year for Pittsburgh or Washington to fall off enough where Columbus can close that gap in the next 2 years, those teams on the fall, the Blue Jackets on the rise, it might take another 2 years for the Blue Jackets to get back to the postseason. But with that said, like I said, they have the guys there. They just need a couple more guys to stay healthy. They need a little bit better goaltending, and maybe that's something they decide to fix in the summer. Do they put a guy like Ville Husso behind Elvis Merzlikins this summer. Darcy Kemper's really the bigger name out there this year. What are they going to do in that regard? So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.